Hello, Crit, Jersey. So, how is everybody doing tonight? All right, well, I'd like to welcome everybody out. As you can see, I am not Jack Johnson, but I am going to show you how to play a Jack Johnson song. Oh, nice. Have you started going through it yet? Yeah, I'm not like a huge Jack Johnson fan. Like I don't think I could name one other song besides this one if my life depended on it. But this is it's a really cool. Oh, hi, Paul. 9 a.m. Thursday morning. 9 a.m. Thursday morning. Geez, really? Yeah. So this song is like a kind of a good. I really want to call it an exercise, but it's just a really good way to practice your seventh chord voicings because it's just full of them. And then he does all these like little melody lines and stuff between the chord changes that are kind of cool. And it's a good way to practice it so you can like implement it into your own playing, maybe into your improvisation and stuff. So as usual, there is a link in the description where you can download the tabs for what we're going to be going over tonight. And the thing that's also cool about this is we're going to kind of talk about some different ways to play it that will, varying on your skill level, as to where you can what you can do with this song. So even if you're a beginner, you should be able to play some rendition of this. It is all pretty much bar chords, but they're ones that they're simpler, like the easier shapes. All right, so hopefully everybody had a chance to download those tabs so we can start looking at this. And if you like what I'm doing, if you like these live streams and these lessons and stuff, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment. All that stuff really helps for them to know that I'm doing a good job for them and stuff. Hello, RR1980MM. I'm just going to call you 80 or 1980 something. Welcome. So I can see I got a lot of the regulars here. Is there anybody new? Oh, where are you tuning in from? All right. So, oh, Minneapolis. Cool. All right. So this, if you're familiar with the song, it just starts off with this little melody line. It goes into some chords. So one of the first things I want to say right off the bat is the way you're going to hear me playing this on the chord parts as far as the rhythm stuff goes, is going to be different than how you see it written on the paper for some of these versions. Because this on this song, he uses a like the bass does the root note on the downbeat, and then he strums the chord on the offbeat, like similar to like reggae. And when you're just playing that by yourself, it sounds a little bit empty. So I'm just going to show some ways that you can kind of fill it out when you're playing alone. The whole thing with this, like I said, it's not so much that this is, I mean, it's a cool song and everything, but it's just a really good way to practice making bar chord changes and these seventh, using seventh chords and then adding melody lines in between your chords and stuff. Hi, John. You are welcome. All right, so we start off. We're going to do a slide from nowhere to the 7th fret on the low E string, and you want to use your 3rd finger because of what's coming next. This is all all very, pentatonic-y. So we're sliding into the 7th fret there. And then we're going to go to the 5th fret of the A string and then back to the 7. Then we go to the 5th fret of the E, low E, with your 1st finger, and we're going to pick that and slide to the to the 3rd fret. So it's like, and then we end that with the open string. So that's the first measure. Okay, and then starting on the 2nd measure, we do another slide from nowhere, but this time to the 5th fret. So I just use my 1st finger for doing this one. So, all right. So when I was saying a minute ago that you have like the bass player hits like the root note and then he strums the chord afterwards. So this is kind of an example of where you can get that feel from this, because and then he immediately does a minor 7. So let's just go over this a little bit, just for those of you who are new and may not already know these chords. This one's pretty easy. You're just going to take your 1st finger and you're just going to bar it all the way across the 5th fret. And then take your 3rd finger and put it on the 7th fret of the A string. That's A minor 7. Now this is movable shape, so if you wanted to play B minor 7, you could just move that shape up a whole step. You have B minor 7. So these bar chords are cool. I know they're kind of a pain in the butt when you're new, first learn them and stuff, but so worth it. So many cool things you can do with them. Another thing, too, that I figure I might as well get out of the way, because I'm sure somebody's going to say something sooner or later. I know that, like, Jack Johnson plays, on an acoustic guitar, and this is like normally on an acoustic guitar. I have some arthritis in my hands, and I couldn't play this on my acoustic today. My acoustic guitar's got some issues, and the action, it's pretty hard to play above about the 5th fret, so it would be kind of tough. So that's why I'm doing it on the electric. All right, so now the other thing I forgot to do was there was this mute strum. So after, when you slide up to the 5 here, then you just, even before you put your 3rd finger down, you just take your 1st finger where you're going to bar it and you just let it rest. So that way you can hit the strings and get that like percussive sound. And then to the A minor 7, and then that rings out for the rest. Okay, forgive me because I don't understand how this works, but Crit, what is that? It says has your name, your picture, and then it says $20. So I'm not sure what that. Oh, and there it is up at the top too. Not sure what that means. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't even know that was a thing. Oh, yeah, I didn't know that you could do that on here. That's cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Oh, well, thanks. Just being here, when you can and stuff is, I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, so that's like the first two measures. The song, I actually have the meter on here. It's 115 beats a minute, so it's more kind of like, but you don't have to play it that fast. So if you're a newer player, I remember this is one of the things that was always really frustrating, was that I would try to play a song and maybe I couldn't make the chord changes fast enough or whatever, and I wasn't able to play the song at tempo. And so I would it would be all over the place. I mean, there would be parts of a song I might be playing at 100 beats a minute, and then 3 beats later I'm playing at 30 beats a minute because I couldn't make the change quick enough. So just play it at whatever that you can play everything smooth, because it just sounds really, it's a nice sounding chord progression anyway. All right, so that is the first two. Oh, well, thank you, Jersey. I appreciate it. I have no idea where I don't even know where it goes. I guess it just goes into the end of the guitar control account or whatever. But thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah. So then starting on the second measure, it starts off kind of the same way. We've got another slide from nowhere, but this is kind of a tricky one. It actually starts with the open string. So he starts with the open low E. So what I do, I have to do it slow, but you can't hear that when I'm playing it slow, you're going to hear a note that you normally wouldn't hear. Well, maybe not. I hit the open string and then I drop my finger kind of at the same time to slide up. So you kind of just get that E note for just a split second before that. So you slide up to the 7th fret, and then to the 5th fret on the A string, back to the 7th fret, to the 5th, and slide down just like we did before. And then this time, at the end of it, it ends on the open low E. Then on that 4th measure, we're going to do what we did with the A minor 7 up here, but now we're going to do G7. So if we just take that shape of the G7, or excuse me, the A minor 7, and we just move it down a whole step. So now we're doing the same thing we did before. We're barring all the way across all 6 strings on the 3rd fret. And our 3rd finger now is on the 5th fret of the A string, but our middle finger is on the 4th fret of the G string. So if you already know, your major and minor, it's just the major with your pinky off. So it does that same thing, the mute strum and then the chord. And that's the first 4 measures. Whoops. All right, so that's the first 4 measures. All right, so does anybody have any questions? Because the next part of it is more or less kind of the same thing again, but it's just like the vocals come in. So does anybody have any questions about what we've gone over thus far? Or just any guitar related questions in general. crack me up, Jersey. All right. So moving along. So now starting on the fifth measure, it's the same as the first two. So we just the A minor 7, and then the same thing again with the G7. All right. So now that leads us to, let's see, what is that? 6, 7, 8 to the ninth measure. So this one's a little weird. We rest, and then we're going to hit the G7 again on. It's going to be like on the offbeat. This song is weird because it's in 12/8, so it's like I'm not even going to attempt to sit and try to count this stuff like I normally do, because if you're a beginner, it will be mega confusing. If I've been playing for a long time and it's still confusing for me, that some of these weird odd time signatures, it's like I can feel it, but to try to count it while you play it, I'm not even remotely coordinated enough to do that. All right, so we're still on that G7 from the previous measure. So we hit that, and then we have a mute, and then another strum. So strum, mute, strum. So how I do that is I do a downstroke. I'm pressing down on the chord. I do a downstroke, and then I just release the pressure. So I just leave my fingers where they are, and I'm just touching the strings now. So that way when I strum, they're just muted. So the downstroke, I'm fretting, and then the upstroke, I'm not. And then another downstroke of fretting. So you got just like that. Now that's like a cool strumming thing right there. Lots of like funk, different stuff. You'll hear that with, like, you know, it's like really cool sound. It's just kind of an easy way to just make, you know, liven something up, make it sound cool. All right, so after you do that with the G7, we go to a D7. Now, the way everything that he's doing in this, he's doing it all with bar chords. But on the tabs, you'll see here that I've got it as the D7 being this open position one. The reason being, he's probably playing this voicing, but the highest note is that F sharp. It's hard to, like, not get the A on the high E string, but if I do it here, then the F sharp's on top already. So I just do it that way. You could do it this way too. It's not really that big of a deal. So going from that G7, then we go to the D7, and there's a rest and then another strum. So it's kind of the same feel that we did with the G7. It's just that now it's a rest in between the strums instead of that muted strum like it is on the G7. So you got the whoops. And then that's where it leads into, like, kind of the next part of the song. Yeah, which I've got labeled on here as the verse. It's been so long since I even, like, have really heard this song that I can't remember exactly but all I know is that this transcription has all the parts to the song. They're just, you know, you'll have to listen to it. Oh, this is this part, that's that part. So when they come back, you'll know what to play. It's pretty easy. All right, so just the first part of this up to where we just left off from. And then that leads us into the next part. So that's all of the first page, and then the second half of what we're going to do is on the second page. I know when you see these things, when you get the tabs, that it's weird. This could have all fit on one page, but for some reason, I don't know what it is, but we have to do it in this format. And I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. So they are kind of weird because it's a photo, like a JPEG or a ping. I can't remember. All right, so now we're on the verse, and this is where it's going to get what I was saying earlier. You can do there's a lot of variation you can do in the rhythm here and stuff. So you can make it kind of custom tailor it to your skill level. So when you listen to the song, we've got G7 and then D7, but this time it's going to be this voicing of D7. So what I'm doing here is I'm barring, but instead of barring across all 6 strings, I'm just barring across the first 5 at the 5th fret, because the 5th fret of the A string is a D. And then I'm on the 7th fret of the D string with my 3rd finger and the 7th fret of the B string with my 4th finger. Thanks, Paul. I appreciate that. I kind of doubt that's bad, but that is really funny. Yeah, so we have this is D7, and this is a movable shape too. So it's D because, like I said, the 5th fret of the A string is a D. So this is D7. And here in a minute, we're going to play C7. So we're just going to move it down a whole step because the 3rd fret of the A string is a C. Same shape. So it's a movable shape just like these ones were. Let's see. Yeah, so we've got the G7, D7, A minor 7, and then C7, and then C7 suspended 2. So all you have to do is just take your pinky off. That's the C7 suspended 2. So when you listen to this, like I said, it's got that that feel of like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 but it's in 12/8, so you don't count it that way. But there's those bass notes that are being played on the downbeat. So the guitar actually rests on the downbeat, so it's like rest, 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 like that. And if you're playing it like that by yourself, it's not very interesting. And it also, to me, it always feels weird trying to play stuff like that, where when everything's on the offbeat and I have no reference for where the downbeat is, it just feels really strange. I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. So what I do when I play this is I just play the bass note of each chord before I strum it. So I've got the G7, so a bass note is on the low E. And when I go to the D7, same thing. So now I'm hitting the bass note, which is the 5th fret on the A string. Move down to the A minor 7, do the same thing and play the bass note. Now we're going to come up to the C7. He does that. So it's a strum on the C7 and then take your pinky off and a strum. And then it just repeats. So that's one way you could do it, is just like that. Now, you could also, if you wanted to actually play the song and like perform it, like I don't mean like going and playing a concert or whatever. I mean like if you're going to play it, up camping around the campfire, or whatever, open mic night, and you kind of want to maybe make kind of like your own, kind of like a rendition of it. Well, if you're playing alone, then you could kind of put a more traditional strum on it. I mean, you don't want to stray too far away from that feel, or it will change a lot. But you could, like, just something like that, just to kind of liven it up and make it you know, so it's a little bit more, got a little bit more of a flow to it and stuff. All right, so it does that. It repeats that. I think it says 3 times. It's too far away for me, my blindness, to be able to read. So yeah, so it goes through that. On back to the G7, the D7, A minor 7, and then it's got another little a little riff, little melody thing again. So this time we're gonna do a slide from nowhere to the 7th fret of the A string, and then we're gonna go to the 5th fret of the D string, to the 7th, back to the 5th, and then that's the end of that measure. And then we go back to the 7 again for where it goes into the next part, which is the chorus. So the chorus does have a little bit more of a, you know, an upbeat, fuller strum on the original. But again, you know, you could just play that, or you know, kind of do whatever you want with it and stuff. All right, so we're coming out of that A minor 7, and we're going to go into that little riff. So our 3rd finger is already there. It's already on the 7th fret, but we want to do that slide. So we do this. I just bring out of it. When you do a slide from nowhere, it doesn't need to be, you know, all the way, you know. Usually if you just go a whole step down, that's generally sufficient enough. So if I'm playing the A minor 7 and I just come out of it and then slide into that with my 3rd finger. So we end there on that, and then the next chord is that A minor 7 again. So it's a really easy transition, is, you know, as long as you think of it that way, that, you know, you play that A minor 7 going into it and then coming out of it. So you're always kind of visualizing where that needs to be. All right, so then that leads us into the chorus section. So before we go into that, anybody have any questions about like the verse section that we just went over? Or just any questions in general, you know, as usual. Let's say, you know, we're going to, I'll try to answer whatever guitar questions and stuff you have. So. All right, Paul, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Yeah, bar chords are tough. I mean, I remember when I first learned them, I was kind of lazy when I very first started playing guitar, because I was a kid, so I was lazy, and they were hard, and so I kind of put it off. I didn't want to do them. But it's just a matter, they're not as hard to do as you think. Well, I'm not saying that you specifically, Crit, but you know, people in general, it's not as difficult to play them as everybody thinks. It's just a matter of finding the posture for you. Where does your hand hurt? I mean, is it like like the surface of your hand from, like, you know, from pressing down, or is it actually pain in your hand, like from use? So like right in here, right in this area here. Well, yeah, so that could be that could be a posture kind of a thing. There's lots of different little things that you can do to kind of relieve that. When we get together in a week or two or whenever it is, I know it's coming up. We can we'll look at that and I'll be able to like actually see, the angle of your hand, all that kind of stuff, and see if we can correct that. Oh, carpal tunnel. Yeah, once you get the nerve damage, it can make stuff really tough. But there's still lots of other things that can be done. We could do like lighter gauge strings. There's lots of different things like that you could try. The center of your hand, like right through the center of your hand when you're playing bar chords, hurts. 1980. All right. Yeah, so let's look after a while the middle of your palm. And is that something that specifically happens with bar chords, or is there other types of playing that do it too? Long bar chord. So you mean like when you play bar chords for a long time? What do you mean by a long bar chord, or do you mean like a long stretched out like that? Because I'll get pain through this part of my hand too if I'm doing stuff where I've got my wrist bent in and I'm really stretching and straining, like trying, because I've got small hands. I'll try to do some of these bigger shapes, and I'll get that pain right there through the, right through the palm of your hand. Yeah, I think that's just kind of a thing. But something that you can try doing is that when you're doing it, especially if you're doing a particular shape and you can feel it, try taking your elbow and just rolling it closer to your body. So, if let's say you're out here, you bring it in like this, that relieves a whole lot of the strain on your tendons and stuff, and really feel a lot better. Anyway, I hope that that helps. Okay, so then the last part we got is the chorus. Oh, no problem. I mean, I know that's not really a whole lot of help, but all right. So for the chorus, we have that. We're leading into the chorus from that. So here he does a strum, mute, strum, strum, mute, strum. So you got. Then he does that riff, that one he did earlier, starts on the low E. So the slide from nowhere to 7. So now he goes to the G7, and it's that same strum. So we've got strum, mute, strum, strum, mute, strum. and then the little riff again. Now, in there, again, you could kind of like mix it up. I mean, if you want to play it exactly the way that he's playing it, then you can hit everything the way that I've got it in the transcription. But to me, it's just, it's a lot less stress, to sit there when you're not like so focused on trying to get this exact rhythm or whatever, just to get something that just kind of flows and works, and that you can play. So maybe you're not really to the point in your playing where you can do those broken rhythms like that. So the whole thing, really, you could just hit the bass note on each one. I would do that, but because you don't really have to do anything different other than just pick that string. So if you're already on that chord, you just hit that bass note, go to the next one. Because that's a little less than all of the other stuff. You can I just hate for anybody to be discouraged from wanting to try to play something because they think, oh, I'm not going to be able to play it that fast, or I can't do that fancy strumming, or whatever. Every journey begins with one footstep. So I mean, you got to start somewhere, and even if you start working with it and then you just realize that you're going to, that the amount of time you're going to have to put into it, maybe the end result isn't super worth it to you because, you don't like the song, or it's just not your thing or whatever, you'll still get something out of it. There's still going to be something you're going to take away from it. Putting the little melody in there, all just out of a pentatonic scale. Maybe these chord voicings you didn't know. I mean, there's just always got to be there's always something that you can get out of it. So, I'd encourage you just try. Yeah, I'm not getting any things on my end either. I did right at the very beginning. It did what it did last time. It says you're live, and then it all of a sudden says your internet connection is unstable, and I thought it was going to crash again, but it hasn't done it since. All right. Well, that is basically all the parts to it. It's not a very long song. It's just a little over 3 minutes, if I remember right. And so I think that it does that intro, verse, chorus, and then it does like another verse and then another chorus, and that's probably the end of the song. All right. So anybody have any other questions or anything? Like I said, it doesn't need to be about this. It could be about whatever, Oh, she talks to angels. That's awesome. Yeah, cool. Oh, for lessons at Guitar Center? Is that what you mean? All right. Well, if nobody has any questions or anything, yeah, hand positioning is important. There is no one size fits all. I mean, it's going to be different. That's a situation where definitely you're going to be better, off if you can actually be in the same room with somebody, so they can, they can actually look and see and help you that way, because that can make that can make all the difference in the world. Hello, Shane. All right, Crit, sounds good. We should be able to chat in the community board. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about there. All right, well, if nobody has any questions or anything, then we can wrap this up. But I really appreciate everybody that came out, and I appreciate the support. I appreciate Crit and Jersey both for the tips. That was really awesome. Like I said, I didn't even know that was a thing. But I'm old, and I remember when there was no internet like it was yesterday. So. Oh, I see, Jersey. Yeah. So yeah. So I appreciate everybody, came out. If you like the content that I'm doing, hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment, all that kind of stuff helps, with that whole, algorithm stuff, whatever that is. And it just shows Guitar Control that I'm doing a good job, and you guys are liking it, and you're getting something out of it. And if if you have like an idea or a suggestion for something you'd like to see covered in a live stream, you know, leave it in the comments. Even after this is over, you know, if you're watching this in the rerun or you don't get around to typing it in before I hang up, leave a comment in the video, because I go back and I read those comments. I'm kind of behind right now. I've had a lot of crap going on here in my personal life in the last 2 weeks, but I need to get back to that, because I try to respond to every comment personally from my personal YouTube channel. Because this, for those of you who don't know, this isn't my channel. I'm just an instructor for guitar control and do these live streams and you know, just regular YouTube videos for them. All right. So yeah, if you have any ideas, leave, you know, when this is over, instead of the live chat, just leave it on the video, because the live chat, sometimes it's hard for me to access it after the video's over for some reason. I don't know why. So if you leave it in here, I may not see it, but if you just comment on the video, I will for sure. But again, everybody, thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week. Have a great week, everybody.